this country it is an epidemic. If I don't like you, I don't want anyone else to like you. So I'm going to tell everyone, don't like this person, don't work with it. That is.
What do you think is the most challenging phase that the dancers are having right now in South Africa?
I think what dancers do struggle with is having no voice because they're scared to speak up. My career, that when you're too soft, you're not going to have a career, because I could lose that gig because the dancers are a mess. The next choreographer gets it and they will get employed by that choreographer. I'm the one sitting at home, not working. So I also have to protect myself. So if I say to you, no, you can't do that, you can't miss that rehearsal, I'm doing it because if I say yes to you, I can't say no to whoever else comes to me.
Exactly.
How do you pay people 1,000 rand to dance for an hour? Never mind 3 minutes. What are you supposed to do with 1,000 rand?
Hello dancer, welcome to another episode of Freedom Podcast. Today I'm happy to have in the studio one of the biggest choreographers in South Africa. He has been in the dance industry for over 30 years. Please, let's welcome Owen Lonzar. Hello.
Hi, how are you? You
good? And you? Thank you. Thank you for coming to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. It's cool.
Pleasure. So Owen, we were talking before and I think we have so many things to say.
Always have a lot to say.
Yeah. And I hope that after the podcast, people feel different. Then they start to work and change the dance industry in South Africa, and especially for me because I don't know much about the corporate industry. So I would like for you to tell me about everything in the dance industry. So, but I want to start just from the beginning. Just tell me a little bit about how you fell in love with dance and what inspired you to pursue as a career.
So I have a mom who loved all those Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, Sid Charisse movies. So I grew up with those. I have older siblings, so I watched all the Beach Boys movies, the Elvis movies. So I grew up with music around me, dance around me, even though I'm the only one who does dance, but my mom loves it particularly. So Gene Kelly was my absolute hero, and I could just always dance. From when I was little, my mom said before I could even walk, I could dance, as they say in the ABBA song. And I always had a love for drama, debating, particularly debating, because, you have to have a good argument.
Yes.
And so I gravitated towards all that at school. And then something I don't remember at all, my mom said I came home from school and I'd seen some girl tap dancing in a school concert. And I said, oh, look what I can do. And I did a few tap steps for her. And she said, who taught you that? I said, no, I just saw a girl doing it at school on stage. So I'd watched her apparently, and I could just do it. So then my mom sent me to class. So I would have started much younger, but I started at the age of 10, and I started as a tap dancer. And then when I was 14, I went to a man called Wally Green, who was a very old, he's passed away since then, but he was actually a South African choreographer who worked on The Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which is a Marilyn Monroe movie. And he was friends with my dad at school. So my dad said, let's send you to him. So I went to him for 3 or 4 years. And then I went to Delia Sainsbury, who runs Waterfront Theatre School. Okay. And I did actual exam work there. I had started with tap exams, but then I started doing jazz exams. I didn't do my teacher's exam because I didn't want to be a teacher.
Okay.
I think sometimes I should have just done it. And I think it's an important conversation that we can have later in our interview about a dance education. Mm-hmm. But I received enough of a dance education to be able to do what I do. And then I got a job. Well, I got my first professional job as a dancer when I was 14.
Oh, 14. I read it before, yes.
Yeah, 14, crazy. It was in a TV show, a live TV show, which Delia Sainsbury was actually the presenter on that show, interestingly enough. And it was a show called Video 2. It was a very popular show with teenagers. Of course, unfortunately, living in the time that I was a teenager and living on the particular side of Joburg that I lived on, that kind of just threw my life into absolute turmoil, because then I got bullied, I got teased.
Really?
Suddenly, oh, you're the boy who dances, because all the kids in my school watched that show. So, I spent all my high school being bullied and teased, which is why I'm not so scared of any of the industry bullies, because, honey, I survived the East End, so I can survive any of you. And then I went to Sun City when I was 19. I was in a show called Spellbound. I stopped dancing for 7 years because I had a really bad back problem. which I seem to have outgrown. And I went back into dancing when I was 26 by accident.
Oh, really?
I studied public relations. I worked in the industry. I was teaching dancing at the time, and I took 4 of the girls I was teaching to an audition for Sun International, for Sun City. And they said, "Oh, we don't want to audition without you." And I hadn't danced anyone else's choreography for like 7 years. So I went in with them and I auditioned with them, but I just kind of went and stood at the back, and we did the first number, and they said to a certain number of dancers, "Thank you, you can leave." And I was still standing there, and I was like,
That's weird.
it's a little bit weird, because that's not why I came here. But anyway, I just kept going, and then we did the second number, and at the end of it all, we all had to go and wait outside, and I was still standing there thinking, it's a little bit surreal, because I came here with them. They got knocked out because they were really young. It was more about the experience for them, and here I'm still standing. And I got called in, and Ivor Jones, who I actually saw on Sunday after a long time, he's a legend in the industry. If there's anyone you need to have on your podcast, it's that man.
I will call him.
I came in and he just said to me, "Okay, so where do you want to go?" So I said, "I don't understand what you mean." He goes, "Well, we need dancers for Sun City or the Wild Coast. Where do you want to go?" He says, "I'm offering you the job." And I was kind of like, And my ex-wife was pregnant with my son at the time, and I went home and I said, "Oh my God, I just got offered a job to dance at Sun City. How weird." I took the job, and that's kind of put me back in the industry again. And that's where I met my friend Karen Harvey. She was then Karen Peacock, and I mention her particularly because, and that's another discussion we can have later on, is your journey is never about yourself. It's never just you. There's always someone who's going to push you, someone who's going to help, someone who's going to open a door. And my friend Karen was very instrumental in my career. We're still friends after 31 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. She now lives in New Zealand. So, I always tease and say New Zealand is where dreams go to die. No, but it's a beautiful country, but there isn't much entertainment.
I see.
There's even less than here. It's just like there's
Oh,
nothing
really?
to do if you're in the entertainment industry, no. So, so she opened doors for me. I choreographed a number at the AIDS benefit. There was a very big benefit that they would do every year where all the artists come together and raise money for HIV. And I did one the first year. People kind of noticed me, but it wasn't a big deal. And in the following year, a certain choreographer, not mentioning any names, threw a tantrum and didn't want to do the number. And my friend Corin said, "Oh, my friend Owen will do it." So I jumped in, I did the number, and I had about 18 dancers in the number. You had to costume it yourself, you had to persuade the dancers to dance for free. It was a lot easier then getting dancers to dance for free than it is now.
Yeah.
And
I think everybody wanted to dance back in the day, like...
Well, so not only that is everyone just now goes, "So how much are you paying me?" And you're going, well, sometimes you have to do stuff for free. But again, another discussion. We're not talking about doing it for exposure. Some company goes, "Do it for exposure." That doesn't work. Exposure doesn't pay your bills. But charity performances can do something for you. And that's what happened to me. In the middle of the number, I did a number with Abigail Quebecer singing Mac the Knife. And I just based the number on a series of step clicks and poses, and it was very Fosse-esque. And people started clapping in the middle of the number. The dancers got such a fight, they almost stopped dancing. And then everyone wanted to know who I was. "Who are you? Who is this guy? Who choreographed this number?" And it just exploded from there. And then I choreographed La Cage Fall for Janice Honeyman at the Joburg Theatre. It was then called the Civic Theatre. I worked for Peter Turin, so then it launched my career in the theatre industry, which then evolved into what it is now, which is a combination of the two, theatre and corporate, but I do a lot more corporate.
No, that's interesting because, like we were talking about, we don't want to talk about your life.
Yes.
We want to talk about what can we change about the dance industry. So that's a brief of your whole entire career.
Yes, that's it, done.
But I'm happy because at least people get to know how do you start in the beginning. So my next question would be, how would you describe the current state of dance corporate industry in South Africa? And because I saw, like I said to you before, I saw incredible dance at Beat Best last year, and I feel like there is, I don't want to say this, but it's like there is no much opportunity for them. It's just like a one quick work and that's it. How is that work?
Look, I think that at one stage in this country, the musical theatre industry really died, and that's how the corporate industry came up. Suddenly there wasn't that much theatre work, but this corporate industry just popped up. And even now, we're not living in the golden age of corporate industry.
Oh, really?
Entertainment. No. the late 90s, like kind of 1999, the early 2000s, 2001, 2002 was massive. I mean, the things that people think they're doing now are so big are small compared to what we did. We did massive stuff, and the dancers were like, I mean, look, and I'm not saying that there aren't brilliant dancers now, but there's a mishmash of them, unfortunately. Excuse me, there were brilliant dancers in those days. They could just do anything, and we worked a lot. I bought a house. I went overseas. I've made good money. My dance captain bought herself a car, and not because I saved her, but because she made so much money. You know, because again, just off the point, choreographers don't save anyone. We employ dancers. You bring us a skill that we need, and we pay you for that skill. It's a business transaction. That's what it is. And we also don't have to be friends. We're there to complete a business transaction.
Do you think that if the dance and the choreographer, they are no friend or they don't get well, the show won't go like it would happen?
No, I don't think you need to be friend. Look, I mean, I'm not going to employ dancers I don't like in terms of what is your work ethic. Are you going to come to rehearsal on time? Are you going to be able to do what I need you to do? Are you going to be pleasant about it? Are you going to give me an attitude? Because, ultimately, it's also not a workshop situation. Yes, I know choreographers also workshop, but when you're doing a corporate, you've got a week to do what other people get to do in 4 or 5 weeks. You don't have time to have a discussion with the dancer. This is the step. This is what I want. Do it. I'm not going to employ a dancer who's going to go, but I think that. I don't pay you to think. I pay you to do the step that I just showed you. End of story. I don't want to know what you think about the color of the costume or what it looks like, because you're wearing it for 3 minutes. Put it on. There's the front. Go. Because that is the nature of the job. Someone has to be the captain of the ship.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? And if we're all grabbing the rudder, where does that ship end up? In a glacier. Titanic, here we come. The fact is somebody's got to be in charge. And if you can't accept that, then you should do something else. But I don't think that they have to be friends. They have to understand the nature of the relationship. I'm your employer, you're my employee, but it doesn't make you my slave. There's a very big difference.
That's what I wanted to go.
Very big difference. We need to be able to respect each other. And my respect for you comes by making sure that you get paid properly, that you get paid on time, and that I make you look as good as possible, and that I don't allow my client to abuse you. Your job is to arrive on time, do the choreography to the best of your ability. Do not arrive with your friends in tow at my event. Do not bring your boyfriend. Do not drink at the event. Do not think that you're a guest. With my dancers, even if my client invites them to stay, they don't stay. When I say my dancers, because they're not my dancers. The dancers working for me in that event.
Yes.
That's another thing choreographers need to stop saying is my dancers.
My dancers.
They're not your dancers. The dancers working for me, or these dancers. It is a shorter term to say my dancers, but they're not your dancers.
I have never thought about it, because when we are in a company, the director say, no, my dancer, they're going to dance there. But saying that way, you just feel like it's true. We are not your dancer. We're just people that work for you.
Yes, exactly. And again, I understand it's a quick way to say it, but sometimes it's the thought process behind the sentence. That's the problem, is how do you see that? When I say my dancers, I see it as the dancers are working for me at the time, but they don't belong to me. If I call a dancer and offer them a job, they're very welcome to say, Owen, I've just been working so hard, I just want to spend a week at home watching Netflix. And I'll be cool. I'll call you for the next one, because they're allowed to do that. You get choreographers who, if they offer a dancer a job and they say no, they will never ask that dancer again.
That's how. Well, let's go back to that. How can we manage that? Because sometimes I feel like if you live somewhere, then you are scared to leave that person, because then it seems like that person is not going to give you job anymore, and that's one of the fear that I'm not talking like for all dancers, but some dancers have like, I'm scared to leave that person, but because I'm scared that he's going to do something to me. Like, how is that work?
So what is that person going to actually do to you? Because not one person is powerful enough to control the entire industry.
But how can we stop that fear from dancer?
The dancer just has to remember that person doesn't have control of the entire industry. That person has control of the entire industry in their heads, because it's their ego. But the reality is there is no God of entertainment. There is no God of dance. There's none of that. So people giving themselves titles, as in the first whatever and the God of dance and the king or queen of tap are living a fantasy in their heads because no one controls the industry. I remember many years ago a dancer who became one of my favorite dancers, and we're still in contact now and again. You know, he's very sweet. He's not in the industry anymore, but he like sent me a really nice message for Christmas. I remember a choreographer saying, I had a problem with that dancer, don't use him. I gave him a chance anyway, and he worked for me for years. So yes, someone will call you and say, what do you think of this dancer? And I get people calling me because they know I'm very straightforward and honest. But if they say to me, what do you think of this dancer? And I'll go, look, I didn't have a good experience with them because I found them difficult to work with in the rehearsal room, whatever. But when they got on stage, they were amazing. So it depends on what you want to do. I said they were on time, they did the job, but I had a personality clash with them. I just found their energy weird.
And maybe with you it won't
but it
happen.
won't be like that. Or I'll go, listen, this person is going to be late, whatever, but they get on stage and they're amazing. They didn't take drugs, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Whatever. So you've got to be honest about it. You can't just go, don't employ that person.
Yes.
What was your experience of that person that someone else may not have? You know, my son taught me when he was young already a very interesting lesson. He said to me, Dad, I don't care if someone doesn't like someone. I want to know who they are myself. I want to experience them for myself. And we have a very, very bad energy or thought process in our industry. And I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but in this country, it is an epidemic. If I don't like you, I don't want anyone else to like you. So I'm going to tell everyone, don't like this person, don't work with it. That is not okay, because just because I don't like you, I mean, and I'm very outspoken, as you know, and I will say I don't like that person, but I don't expect everyone else not to like them, because that is my experience of that person.
Exactly.
I don't have to work with that person if I don't want to.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean they can't work for someone else. And dancers don't understand that. They need to know that they also have some power. They also have some authority over them. Oh, they do have authority over themselves. So if I call you and I offer you a job and then you say yes and then you let me down, I'm not going to employ you again, because you've proven yourself for me to be unreliable. But if I offer you a job and you're already busy with someone else, or you just don't want to do the job because you're tired, that is your right. And I can't hold that against you.
Yes.
You haven't done anything bad to me. You've just not accepted a job. I don't take jobs from all my clients. There's certain clients that have said, I don't want to work with you anymore. So why do I get to say that? And yes, there are people who would not say that either, but I've realized there are so many events companies that if I do a good job for the clients I have, I will always work. Because in the end, where is your work ethic? What are you delivering? And again, there's even from dancers, there are some new dancers whose work ethics are crap. Just to say the thing, they're new choreographers. You know, years ago, there were very few choreographers. Now every second person's a choreographer. Now because you can count to 8, you're a choreographer. Like, no, honey, you can't be doing a rock and roll number and then put in the twist. The twist came years after the rock and roll. So do you actually know your craft? But no, everyone's a choreographer. There are people charging dancers to be part of their company. Your dancers pay you a fee to be in your company. How does that work? I thought you're supposed to pay them. And yes, then they are paying them. But how much are they paying them? I don't understand the concept. There's so many weird things going on in our industry at the moment. And dancers accept them because they really want to keep working. But dancers, how many choreographers are there to dancers? There's so many more dancers than there are choreographers. And if a choreographer doesn't pay you, don't work for them, because somebody else will employ you and they will pay you.
Yeah. I think I want to talk about choreography part later.
Yeah.
So I want to keep talking about the dancer. What do you think is the most challenging phase that the dancers are having right now in South Africa?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, look, it is a very difficult question for me to answer, because I'd actually said to someone else before in a conversation that we stand on different sides of the studio. So I have a different view. My experience as a choreographer in the industry is very different to a dancer's experience. My experience as a dancer is very different because I was a dancer at a very different time. The industry was completely different.
He left no time to regret, kept his stick wet with his same old safe bet. And me, blind, blind. My hearts, they are stacked. Blind, blind. I go back to. I go back to. We always said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her, and I go back to. We always said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her, and I go back to back.
So much different.
You know, so it's very difficult to say, well, this is what they're struggling with. I think what dancers do struggle with is having no voice because they're scared to speak up. I think that sometimes, you know, I'd got into an argument with someone on Facebook, and a particular dancer who I'd fired because he decided he wasn't coming to my rehearsal to go to an audition for a show, and he was going to miss one of only 3 rehearsals, jumped onto the Facebook page of this person and said, oh yeah, I had a terrible experience with Owen Lonzar. It was so horrible to me, blah, 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 blah. And my partner then wrote, no, actually, Owen took you to rehearsals every day. He fetched you at home and took you to rehearsals. He fired you because you just decided you weren't coming to rehearsals anymore. So yes, use your voice correctly. Don't use your voice to trash someone when you were in the wrong. Because what it does is it actually lessens the power of your voice. So use your voice with conscience.
And that's, I think, that's one of the biggest problem, because sometimes feels like as a dancer we deserve everything because we are on the stage, but there is some dancer doesn't know there is a lot of people behind scene as well.
Yes.
You know, and that's difficult because even my dad is a contemporary dancer. We have a company in Spain.
Oh, amazing.
And sometimes it's like I'm a dancer, but sometimes I'm a choreographer, because he say like 50 or 60-40 that the dancer, because I feel like the dancer is the one is dancing on stage, and if you can do that step properly, how can I perform that to you in a proper way?
Look, if you, again, it goes back to, are you telling a story? Are you a soloist?
Yeah.
Are you dancing in a pas de deux or an adage? But when you're one of 20 dancers doing a number, the choreographer expects you all to be able to do the same. So if I go, oh, I can't put in a triple pirouette because you can't do it, all you dancers must only do a single, then someone else can't do a jeté that you can do. So that you're going to be constantly changing choreography. So basically, as a choreographer, I'm going to look for the dancers that can do everything that I need them to do.
Yeah.
There is no negotiation in those terms, because this is what I need.
Yeah.
And look, we do still have those negotiations. Sometimes I want lifts that the dancers can't do. So yes, it doesn't make me happy, but I'll figure out a lift that they all can do, or that those people can do. Okay, so you can do this lift. We don't not do that. It depends on the energy. It depends on the reason for the disagreement. And I do think sometimes dancers use their voice incorrectly. They have the voice to be able to say, I don't want to work for that money. I don't want the job. I'm too tired. I don't want the job. Or, no, you haven't paid me yet, so I should be allowed to call you out and name and shame you without fear of being ostracized or kicked out of the industry. But what they don't have is go, I think the step should be this. When you're one of 20 dancers. That's not your place.
Yes.
That is not the way to use your
Exactly,
voice.
yeah.
Because that will get you unemployed. Because no one has time to fight with. And the reality is, if you take one suggestion, you have to take 20.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you can't say yes to one. I have a rule. If I say yes to you, I say yes to everyone. If I say no to you, I say no to everyone. So I am known for being strict. A friend of mine who runs a dance studio, one of his ex-pupils had entered the industry, and he said to her, have you worked with my friend Owen Lonzar? And she said, no, but I've heard of him. They say he's old school. He'll just tell you it's shit. So, and old school exactly is what? Being on time, doing your job properly, all of that stuff. So yes, I am outspoken. But, and I kind of missed the point of why I said that now, because Mark distracted me. Mark.
But
Yeah. So I just think you have to use your voice correctly. What are you actually fighting for? You can't be seen as difficult because you want to do a thing a certain way. You don't want to wear that costume. For example, that's what I was saying. I try to be fair. So if you come to me and say, I need to miss a rehearsal, and we've got 6 rehearsals and there are 30 dancers, I can't let you miss that rehearsal. Because somebody else wants to miss a rehearsal. And then I've realized that very early on in my career, that when you're too soft, you're not going to have a career. Because I could lose that gig because the dancers are a mess. The next choreographer gets it, and they will get employed by that choreographer. I'm the one sitting at home, not working. So I also have to protect myself. So if I say to you, no, you can't do that, you can't miss that rehearsal, I'm doing it because if I say yes to you, I can't say no to whoever else comes to me.
Exactly.
So then there's going to be a day, there's not going to be a single day where I'm going to have all the dancers at rehearsal. And where does that leave me? The client doesn't come to me and go, why is he a mess? Oh, yeah, no, sorry, he had flu, whatever. We don't flash signs up on theatre stages going, sorry for so-and-so because they've got a headache or, they've got a toothache. The audience doesn't care.
Yeah.
So I can't care because my client doesn't care. They want what they are paying for.
Exactly.
We are a product. We are an actual product, and we've got to be the best product we can be.
Exactly,
I remember saying to dancers in Turkey that I worked with, I said to the girls, some of them were really overweight. And yes, I'm going to be called fattest and whatever, but I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. Dancers need to look a certain way. And yes, we've evolved into some of the girls being more voluptuous, and great. Voluptuous is gorgeous. But there's a part where it just becomes, it goes to the other extreme. And in that particular sector of the industry, they wanted the girls to look a certain way. I was working for them. I didn't make the rules. So I said to the girls, when you come here, do you think that Formula One drivers arrive in a Beetle? They arrive in the fastest, best car that they can arrive in. Don't come here in your banged up Beetle. I want the sports car. So we have to be the best product that we can be. We can't be an excuse of a product and expect people to still employ us. And I think that is also a challenge that dancers are having, is their own mindset. There are a lot of really good dancers on stage next to dancers who should not be there. But the choreographers themselves are also not of a standard that they should be. And I think that choreographers need to also, you need to employ dancers who are a way better dancer than you ever were.
Okay.
I'm not intimidated by dancers who are a better dancer than I was. I wasn't the best jumper. I wasn't the best turner. Was I a good performer? Probably. I don't remember. I just remember that I always wanted to be a choreographer.
Yes.
I remember going to my teacher when I was 10 years old and said, what do you call the person who makes up the steps? She said, a choreographer. I said, that's what I want to be. So I'm not competing with the dancers. I want them to be able to do all the things I couldn't do so that I can create what I need to create. So often the choreographers themselves are not that great, so they employ a dancer of a lesser quality, or they're not paying as well as they should. And yes, I understand this whole kumbaya thing, let's hold hands and sing in a circle, everyone deserves a place in the sun. No, everyone does not deserve a place in the sun. Everyone does not deserve a place on stage. Nobody wants to watch you be average. The audience wants to be astounded. They want you to be good. If they want average, they can stay home and watch most TV shows. They don't want average. And we are presenting average so much of the time because we are going, oh, it's shame, they also deserve to work. No, they don't.
You have to work hard to get that.
Exactly. Shops that don't offer good products close. Restaurants that sell bad food close down. Dancers who don't dance well shouldn't be in the industry. Choreographers who don't choreograph properly. Choreography, you know yourself, is not just count of 8. What is the concept? What is it I'm saying? You can't go with a certain style and then suddenly, people who start if you're doing choreographing a hip-hop number, what are you going to do? Put in jetés and pirouettes? It doesn't go with the genre of dance. You've got to be able to understand what it is you're choreographing and stick to that. You must have a vision. It's not just a counterpart. And I think that part of the problem in our industry is we have choreographers who shouldn't be here and we have dancers who shouldn't be here.
And how, for example, as a dancer, I'm talking in a way of dancer because I'm a dancer, I'm not choreographer. So how can we get, or the dancer that they don't have the best technique or the best possibility, how can they get opportunity in dance corporate? Because some of them, they haven't go to a school or whatever.
That's the problem.
Yes.
That is the problem.
But how, because they want to dance, so how can you say to a person that they're wanting to dance and they can't do it because what we need is quality?
Well, you have to be realistic. You have to go, why am I not a good dancer? Is it because I don't have the education in dance or because I don't have the ability? There are a lot of things I can't do. I'm not going to try and decide to become a sprinter because I know I can't run.
Okay.
I don't sing because I can't sing. I have to be realistic. Parents, I think, are often the problem because they tell their children, oh, you can do anything. No, we can't do anything. We can't do anything because there are lots of things we can't do. There are a lot of things that I can do, but there are about 1 million things more that I can't do. I don't go and try and take a job in IT because I have no experience or skill in it. And no matter how much you teach me, I'm not going to be able to do the job. They get caught up in the glamour. And they think, I always tease and say, because shaking your ass isn't dancing. Because you have rhythm and because you can move well doesn't make you a dancer. Okay. Singing well at your karaoke event for your friend's birthday doesn't mean you can become a professional singer. Not everyone can sing. Not everyone can dance. So if you're desperate to be a dancer, then find a way to go to class. I know that it's difficult, and we were speaking about it before we went on camera, that everyone's journey is different. You can come from a privileged place where your parents have the money to send you to the best teachers. Question is, what is the best teacher? Again, because that's also a problem. I think there's a quality, there's a massive quality of dance teacher in this country that is also not good. And there are lots of really good ones. But again, whole competition circuit, the bane of my life. I hate competitions.
Me too.
I'm not scared to say it.
Me
I
too.
think they have destroyed the dance industry completely. They've destroyed the mindset of the dancer. I think there are a lot of dance studios that wouldn't do competitions if they didn't have to, because dancers don't have time to enter exams and do competitions. And I really believe that's something I very strongly believe, that you need to do exam work. You need to, it's the discipline of going in, it's just you and the teacher. It's not about recognition. It's not about standing up there with the trophy. It's not about everyone going, wow, 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 you're amazing, because the dancers are doing it all for the wrong reasons. They want to be the champion. The champion of what? According to who? How many dance competitions are there? It's not the Olympics. You're not the only Olympic champion. It doesn't matter that this competition thinks they're the prime competition in the world. There's hundreds of them. They don't mean anything. So the reality is they mean something to you because you won them, but they think that there's this global effect that everyone's going to think they're amazing. I have not ever asked one dancer, what competition have you won? Because I don't care. can you do what I need you to do? So I think that there's places like the Waterfront Theatre School, and I mention them because I studied with them before they became the Waterfront Theatre School, and they were in Joburg. You go into that exam, you go to class every week religiously, you don't miss, you learn the work, you do it again and again until it's right. You go into that exam for an hour and a half, one time, to do what you spent an entire year learning. You don't get to dance the same dance routine over and over again in a competition and get a trophy and rah, rah, rah. You wait for that exam result and then you get a certificate. It's between you and the examiner and what you've achieved for yourself. But that is where your technique is going to lie. There are a lot of these kids winning competitions who try and work in the industry who cannot pick up the choreography quickly enough, because the choreography is based on what they are good at. And it's the same steps over and over again. So when you have to work for someone else who's going to teach them something they've never done before, they can't do it.
It's difficult.
Because the exam work is important. Dancers must get an education. So there are a lot of places like moving into dance that give people a chance to be interns, to go to class. I know Delia Sainsbury in Cape Town does have some bursary options. I don't know that they can't take many of them because obviously they're a business.
Yes.
They do have to be able to run the school and pay their teachers, and they pay the best teachers. So there are options. You've just got to find them. I know when I had a studio, I gave people classes for free. Dance teachers want you to dance. There's always someone who's going to give you the chance, but they're not going to class. They're not going to class. You can't just go and learn to be a hip-hop dancer and expect to get all the jobs, because you don't have the technique of the double pirouette. You don't have the jeté, the développé. Ballet is a very important grounding for dance. I used to hide in the bathroom when there was ballet class because I just didn't look good doing it. I love the discipline of ballet dance. I love what it gives the dancers. But again, you can't just be a ballet dancer and then want to work. If you want to be just a ballet dancer, that's perfect. Join a ballet company, that's it. But if you want to work in the industry as a whole, you need to be able to do other things. But if you look at the discipline that it takes, and you know this as a ballet dancer, every day at the bar, center work, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening in the competition world. It's not happening with kids anymore because they're not doing exams. They're not doing exams, and they come into the industry weaker than they should be.
And I feel like doing the competition is just making the mindset of the kid like, I have to win to become something.
Yes, I'm not good unless I win.
Exactly. I'm like, I say to all the kids that I teach that, okay, let's do the competition. But this competition doesn't make who you are as a dancer.
Doesn't define you, no.
Doesn't define who you are as a dancer. There is many dancers around the world that have been principal for many years and then never been into a competition.
No, because it's a certain generation of dancer.
Yeah.
I've never won an award in my life. What, am I bitter about it? Absolutely not. I could care less. When I did theatre work in this country, we had the Vita Awards. There was no Best Choreographer Award. Then they did the Naledi's, and I no longer really choreograph musical theatre. I've been nominated. I was nominated last year. I didn't even go because I don't place any importance on those awards, whether it be the Naledi's or any other. That is a certain panel of judges who've decided that is the best person. A different panel would have chosen someone else.
And don't you think that the reason of this generation is like if you don't have awards, people won't come to you?
They seem to think that they're going to get a job because they've won this competition. I think there's a bit of a cult to these competitions. And I mean, I've had an interesting conversation many times with Quintus Janssen. He works in competitions, but there's a very different, and then people always go, yes, but in Latin, but Latin is a different thing. It started that way from my knowledge of it. You do a level, so you do gold higher. Those are the steps you have to know. You pass that exam and then you can enter the competition in that level. So it's really attached to your training. Then it's a different story. But jazz, ballet, tap, none of those were designed as competition dances. So what are you basing your criteria on? How are you deciding that is the best jazz dancer or the best jazz choreographer? According to who and what criteria? You can't tell me you're 13 years old and you're the world champion. Of what? The world champion of what? And according to who? How many dancers didn't enter? So the Latin American and ballroom have a system that works for them. Do the dancers always think it's fair? Do they think that couple should be world champion? Absolutely not. It's always going to be controversial. But the system has been thought out and it works because it's based in the training. You have to pass this level of training to compete at that level. So you need to have a certain level of skill. You got like 60, 7-year-olds doing penchés, and what is a fouette turn doing in a jazz routine? It is a ballet step. And it's not even a trick in ballet. Yes, I understand when the dancer does in a massive number of them, then it becomes spectacular. But the actual technique of a fouette turn, every single ballet dancer has to be able to do it. Now suddenly it's a trick in jazz.
In jazz, yeah.
Like, what are you doing? I don't understand. And all these tricks. So, the thing is that they've taken, and dance competitions are about money. They're there to make money. The only people who think they're important are the ones judging them, choreographing them, dancing in them, and organizing them. They're there to make money. It's a business.
100%.
It's an absolute business.
100%.
They need you to buy into the fact that trophy means something. I had a friend saying, you know what, I thought of selling my trophies because I need money, and then I realized they're worth nothing. It's like, obviously they're worth nothing. They're plastic. They're plastic. They're bought in a trophy shop somewhere. They're worth nothing.
You see, that's the mindset that competition is doing to the kids. That's
I'm
not
going to sell my
right.
trophies to who? You didn't win an Oscar, my friend. You didn't win a what do you call it, an Olympic medal. Because the Nobel Prize, the Oscar, and even the Oscars and the Golden Globes, so many people have won. But the fact of the matter is that the Oscar and the Golden Globes have value because they're attached to someone famous. The actual award only has value in the industry. The reason that person can sell that Oscar for a lot of money is because it's got Tom Cruise written on it or whatever. And the person who's a massive Tom Cruise fan or caught up in celebrity wants it at whatever cost. But your trophy, who are you? The medal comes from a competition that no one even knows about, except a small group of people. And I think that competitions, and we haven't even seen the effects of it yet, because a lot of the dancers dancing in the industry now didn't come from that circuit. We haven't had the influx of those dancers yet. And it's going to make a massive difference to our industry. It makes me fearful going, am I going to have to work with these people? And they may be lovely people. And I'm not saying that they're bad dancers, but they have a different mindset. They have a different work ethic. They can't, it's just going to be a problem. We are breeding a group of dancers that are going to be very difficult to work with. And not because they don't love dance.
Just because they have so many medals and they think...
Well, they just have a different mindset to, why are you dancing for the recognition? I don't understand. When I wanted to be a choreographer, I didn't even know I could make a living out of it. I didn't know choreographers became famous. Like, what is famous?
Close the mind down, stitch a seam across the eye. If you can be good, you live forever. If you're bad, you'll die when you die. Hearing only one true note on the one and only sound. Unzip my body, take my heart out, 'cause I need a beat to give this tune. Sway to music, oh the lightning glad. I would give it all and all. Maybe you would only ask for half a chance. Hearing only one move note, planted firmly in the ground. Undo my heart, unzip my body, yeah. And to my ear, clear and a deafening sound. Unzip my heart. And if I need a rhythm, it'll be to my heart. Listen, if it don't put me too far wrong. And if I need a rhythm, it's gonna be to my heart. And listen, if it don't put me too far wrong. Everybody smile, nobody pay no mind to me. Finger in position on the sweet, a little flash photography, taking a picture of you, taking a picture of me. Taking a picture. Ramma, ramma, bang, bang, flash, bang, big bang, ding, dong, ding, dong, dong.
what is famous? There are people in the Amazon jungle who don't know who Michael Jackson is. Do you know? It doesn't matter who is completely famous. Fame is such a stupid thing. You shouldn't be doing it for the recognition. You shouldn't be doing it so people can walk into a room and go, wow, that's so-and-so. You're supposed to be doing it because you love it and it's your job. There's too much ego attached to our industry and to what we do. No accountant gets, oh my God, that so-and-so is the accountant. That's the IT specialist. Those are people doing either for the money, which is sad, because you want to be able to love your job, or because they really like their jobs. Why are you so desperate for recognition, for a title, to be told you that this in the industry, that industry? Why? I mean, it's so weird, because I had that conversation with my therapist, and I said to her, you don't understand, I don't care. I actually don't care. I don't care that I've never won an award. I don't care if someone doesn't like me. If I don't like you, why do I care if you like me? I'm more worried about people who are liking me. I also don't care if someone doesn't recognize me. You know, my friends always tease and go, yeah, you are a bit famous. I'm like, to who? Famous to who? I walk to who?
Exactly.
In the industry, I'm known, but that's because I've been around for so long. I'm part of the furniture, and because I have a big mouth, that doesn't make me famous. And why would I even want to be famous? That's a child dream. Like when you ask a child, what do you want to be? I want to be a fireman. I want to be a doctor. I want to be famous.
What's famous?
Ego.
Yeah.
And it's another very interesting thing my therapist taught me. When you deal with someone's ego, you are dealing with a child, because our ego lives in our child. It is not a mature thing. Ego is not mature. It's not even real. You're dealing with a child when you're dealing with someone's ego. And there is too much ego in our industry. I think that part of the problem during lockdown and why people didn't want to see dancers as suffering is because people go, yeah, but you know, real people do, or ordinary people. And I'm like, what do you mean by real people or ordinary people? We are real people and ordinary people. I go to the toilet like everyone else does. I have to make dinner. I have to go shopping. We are people doing a job. We are not special. We are not different to anyone else. Oh, people don't understand me because I'm an artist. Well, they don't have to understand. And you're not different because you're an artist. We all have temper tantrums. We all get irritated. We all get tired. You're not different because of what you do. And that was a problem. We were seen as something different to the rest of the people in this country when lockdown came. They didn't understand that we were struggling. And I don't know if you remember, I started a thing called Waiting in the Wings SA.
Yes.
Not just me. With I worked with an actress singer who came and helped me, and we worked together. We didn't pass the best of friends. Again, I think there was just a lot of ego. But she worked damn hard. She was in it with me every step of the way. Doesn't matter if we didn't part on the best terms. When we were in it together, we were in it together, and she was extremely dedicated, and I'll always respect her for that. But the reality is that dancers just thought everyone was just going to help them. But we're artists, and art matters. Yeah, but so does the person who sweeps the streets. So does the person who rings up your groceries at the Checkers or the Pick and Pay or wherever you shop. Everyone is important. Everyone adds value. We don't add more value than anyone else.
100%.
And that's the problem. There's too much ego. And then this award, I won this championship, just adds to the ego. And it just becomes more and more. And then they become legends in their own minds. You're a legend in your head, my friend, because I don't think you're a legend. Show me who you are and what your work ethic is. And the sad thing is those kids are talented. There are a lot of very talented kids out there. There are a lot of them who love to dance, who have an incredible amount of ability, but they're being taught all the wrong things. There is something to be said for exam work. Because I'm sure you did them too with ballet. It is a hard slog. It is endless. Doing the same thing over and over again. Your teacher telling you it's not good enough. Do it again. There's no big rah stage at the end of it all. You get your certificate and you start it all over again for the next level. But that, I can tell you now, is what made you the dancer you are today.
Exactly,
right?
100%. And that's what I want to say to the kids, that if you want to become a professional dancer, you have to believe in the process first, and also you have to come for class second, and you have to trust the teacher.
Yeah.
That's it,
And again,
and work hard.
Yeah,
that's the most important.
It's interesting that you said trust the teacher, because it's another conversation I've had and it was a post of mine that kind of got shared quite a bit. There's a big difference between that teacher who teaches you every day, who really wants you to be the best dancer that they can be, that you can be, and the choreographer who enters you in the competition. The choreographer is being paid. The choreographer is going to get the glory. The choreographer is, and then everyone goes, oh, the choreographer. What about the teacher? What about that person who's taught you your first step ball change, your first pas de bourrée, your first jeté, the technique of a pirouette or a chaîné turn? Who is that person? Because that is the person who should actually be getting the thank you, but they don't.
They don't do it.
We have no industry without dance teachers. Dance teachers are the beginning point of it all. That's why I always say, thank God there are people who aren't like me, because I don't want to teach anyone anything. I don't want to teach anyone anything. I want to teach them the style that I want. I don't want to show them how a pirouette works. But thank God there are people who do want to. And the teacher is the one who gets you where you are. The choreographer just gets you after the teacher's taught you all of that. And then the choreographer moves on to the next routine. The choreographer wants you to win, because that choreographer is going to get to choreograph the next number if you do.
It's just like a circle that goes around, you know? Because the other day I was doing some class, and then they do bow after the class.
Yes.
And I was in the class, I was like, that never happened in other school, in other company that I went. And for that person, it was important to do a bow to the teacher. Here in South Africa, some of the kids, when I teach, I force them to do it.
Yeah.
And they say, but have you done it in your school? No, we don't do that. We just finish the class, take your back,
Exactly,
and
because
go.
there's no thank you. And we applaud as well. We were taught to applaud.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
And if there's a pianist, you say thank you.
It's so funny because it's so funny. Sorry that I cut you there. It's so funny because in Cuba we have the director of the school, and in Cuba is the biggest school. You know, it's massive, and we see her at the other side. We have to stop. Let her come past us and do bow to her without doing class or nothing, just in the passage. Yeah. Here we don't have that.
No, because again, it's ego. We live in a me society. I mean, the fact that we even have a thing called a selfie. If you're constantly taking photos of yourself, does that not tell you that you're a little self-obsessed?
Yeah.
You know, I spend time with my friends and we have birthday parties and whatever, and then afterwards I go, oh, we didn't take any photos, because I'm too busy experiencing the people. And does it mean that I don't spend a lot of time on my phone? Absolutely, I spend too much time on my phone. My poor partner and I fight about it all the time. But if you look at my Instagram, I don't know if you went to look at my Instagram. How many photos are there of me? How many? Nobody wants to see a photo of me eating a burger, running on the treadmill at the gym. Nobody cares. I'm much more interested in what you're doing that I can learn something from. Nobody needs to see a photograph of me. Because what is that going to do for their day? I would much rather show my work. Because it may inspire someone to go, oh my goodness, that's a clever idea. Definitely wouldn't do that. Doesn't mean that they're always going to like it. But it should be about your work or something you think people will find interesting. You standing eating a burger is really not interesting. It's
not interesting.
Sorry. I know it's interesting to you and to your friends, but it's not interesting to the rest of us. And it's a me society. It's all about me. It's all about what is my title. Dancers call me this. I'm the queen of tap. I'm the this or that. Oh my God. I mean, there are people in this industry who constantly giving themselves titles, and it makes me want to punch them in the face. It is exhausting, because what they don't understand is it's not good for the psyche of the industry. Because I always say a fish rots from the head. So if you have that attitude, your dancers are going to have, or the dancers who work for you regularly are going to have that same attitude. I always tell my dancers, when you get to an event, the job is not about you. You said yourself, you realize when you're on stage, there are lots of people behind the scenes that are also important. That show wouldn't happen without the stage manager, without the stage crew, without the person who sewed the costumes, the person who makes the curtain work, the person who sews the curtain when it tears. There are so many people out there who are just as important. You just happen to be the one on stage. Yes, so you're the one who takes the most risk, but it's not the point. The point is there are moving parts that if you lose one of those moving parts, nothing is going to work. Every part is important. So when these people come in and I'm a superstar choreographer, or I'm a this, the dancers think, oh, I'm a superstar dancer. When you're at an event, they've got tables to set up. They've got tablecloths, they've got food to be served, they've got invitations, there are so many things. You are actually a very small part of a
Of the
very
bigger,
big thing,
yeah.
of the bigger picture. But dancers and performers often will come with an attitude of like it's all about them. And then that does the industry damage, because then clients don't want to work with us anymore. They go, you know what, you're just going to get a band so much easier than dancers. And not all dancers are like that. I work with some amazing people who are very professional, who are hardworking, who come in there and get the job done and go home. But unfortunately, that doesn't destroy the industry. And that's what we have to focus on. What is this destroying the industry? The fact that choreographers think they own dancers, the fact that there are choreographers who are not paying dancers, but dancers can't say anything about it, the dancers who think they're superstars, again, all fed by the choreographers. All fed by the choreographers. And I'm sorry to say that the choreographers set the tone, because we can let it filter down, or we can go, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And again, that's where we have the power as choreographers. We can change the narrative. Dancers have the power going, I don't work for you because you don't pay people. So none of us are going to work for you because you don't pay me properly. I had Pansula dancers once who were shocked that I was paying them the figure that I was paying them, because they would dance for half an hour for 1,000 rand. I'm like, sorry, what? I said, firstly, you shouldn't even be dancing for 3 minutes for 1,000 rand. I just quoted a client for some dancers, parkour boys, to do something for 40 seconds for 4,000 rand each. Because it's not just the 40 seconds, it's the skill that it takes.
Exactly.
Not just anyone can do that parkour performance. But how do you pay people 1,000 rand to dance for an hour? Never mind 3 minutes. What are you supposed to do with 1,000 rand?
People are paying more for timing than skills.
Exactly. So the other thing is there's the petrol. There's the fact that so many dancers in this country don't have cars, and they've got to catch 3 taxis to rehearsals. I always say to dancers, before you take the job, do the math. Do the math.
That's important.
Is this job going to lose you money? Or you're going to have to be loaning money from friends to do this job? Then why are you doing it? It's a business, right? So if you're not going to make a profit, no one's going to open a business and create a pair of pants and go, okay, well, these pants cost me 1,000 rand to make, so I'm going to sell them for 900. How does that make sense? They're going to sell them for 1,500 rand to make a profit. Dancers don't always do the math. Yeah, but at least I'm working.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's a hobby.
Justin, get him some food. Take him out. Give him water.
The water through the party in the kind of jam. The prison band was there and began to wail. The band was jumping and the drum began to sing. The shit was on and on, gone JP, sing, let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole South Block who was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played a tenor saxophone. Little Joe playing on his slide trombone. The boy from Illinois with crash from back. Whole rhythm section and the purple game. Let's rock. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole South Block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Number 47 to the number 3. You're the cutest jailbird I've ever seen. I'm hoping we can line it with your company. Come on, let's do the jailhouse rock. Come on. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in the whole South Block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Come on.
Can we see the dance career in South Africa as a viable things to do, as a viable job?
It is one already. It is one. There are lots of dancers who are paying their bills that way. I've raised my son. He's 31. He's a dad.
Yeah.
I had a house. I don't own my house anymore. I chose not to. It's a long conversation.
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
very
yeah,
different
yeah.
conversation. But the fact of the matter is, I've paid my bills. I'm not living on the street. I'm not poor. I'm also not. I haven't gone bankrupt. People who tell you, "Oh, study something else just in case." If you have a back door, you're going to use it.
Yes.
Right? How do you tell someone, and I actually saw it on your podcast, to be honest, study graphic design, when you don't know how much graphic design costs to study? It's a fortune. Graphic designers don't get as much. They can also be as unstable as dancers. You can have a professional job in a company today and be fired tomorrow and unemployed for the next 2 years. I know a dancer who's working on a gig for me at the moment who studied something, who's an exceptionally clever girl, who's got a degree in something really respectable, and has had a really good job. And she said to me, "You don't understand. I actually didn't realize I could work as a dancer. I'm working as a dancer and making more money and paying for my studies." And she's studying that because it's what she really loves, not because it's a back door.
By the way, she does dance corporate, right?
Yes,
Because if you go into a company,
of course.
would be different story.
Yes, of course. But then you've got to understand that that's your choice. But that doesn't mean you can't teach. The fact of the matter is you don't have to study a business thing that takes you away from what you love. There are many branches to the industry, especially as a dancer. Pilates instructor, yoga instructor. Yoga instructors make really good money. And if you are already getting a salary from a ballet company, and people go, "Oh, well, why should I have more than one job?" There are people overseas who hold down 3 jobs to make a living. We are a little spoilt in South Africa in many ways. Well, the privileged.
But don't you think that I studied the dance for 8 years and I should be doing only dance, nothing else? Because I heard the like a few months ago, last year, when the American Ballet Theatre went like on stock. How do you say
Strike.
that? Strike, because they didn't have enough money, and some of the principal dancers were doing another job. But you shouldn't be doing that when you dedicate your entire career or your entire 8 years to study dance.
Yeah, look,
or ballet.
I think it's a systemic problem. I think it's a worldwide problem in all kinds of jobs. There are lots of people doing more than one job to survive. Should it be that way? Absolutely not. But the Elon Musks of the world don't give a shit. Neither do the Bill Gates. Those people are all about the money.
Yeah.
And the rich have the power. And the reality is that I'm very lucky that I do just what I do, but I also don't just choreograph. I direct, I show call. I'll take a job standing backstage, running backstage for a client. I don't go, "Oh, I'm the choreographer, I can't do that." So I don't just choreograph. I can tell you now that last year I did less choreography than I did all the other stuff. Write concepts, write a script for an AV, for a client, show call something for them, whatever, because I've diversified to make me more employable. That doesn't mean that I only get to choreograph, but those are all things that I can still love to do because they're part of the industry. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I get that someone goes, "Yes, but I studied all these years to just do this." And yes, they should be only doing that. But unfortunately, the world just doesn't work that way anymore. And we can't change all of that. But you can make it work for you. You can find a way to make it work for you. You can go, "Oh, I'm just going to be angry, I'm not going to do this," and blah, blah, blah. Or you can go, "Okay, so how do I make it work for you?" It's like during lockdown, when I did Waiting in the Wings SA, that all just happened by accident, really. It started out as a back a buddy fund. But what I did notice was people were going, "Oh, let's go into a theatre and then record our show and then live stream that." The audience doesn't want to watch you on video in a theatre when they would rather be sitting in the theatre. I realized, oh my God, now we can go anywhere. Now I can do a show at the airport on an Airbus. Now I can go into the park where they normally wouldn't let us go. Suddenly, there were spaces available to us that would not normally be available. There were shows I didn't get to do because lockdown ended too soon. I was going, "Oh, so now how am I going to do this?" Because now those places were no longer available to us. You have to go, "Okay, so what is the bigger picture? How do I make this work?" Creatives also tend to sit waiting for someone with the money to help them create something. Why is it that person's responsibility? Why? Why is it their responsibility? Why? Well, the interesting thing I noticed in Brazil, when I was there for 3 months. And the interesting thing, when I was just on holiday in Las Vegas, is people will get together there and they go, I've got an idea. Why don't we work this thing together? We're going to rehearse, we're going to dance, and then we're going to show it to someone. We're going to go to a theatre and say, we want to put this on in your theatre. South Africans won't do that. They go, so how much are you going to pay me? So no one can create an idea when no one wants to work together to create something for everyone. It's a me society. How much are you going to pay me?
And it's important that you say that because my dad, we were talking in Spain the other day, and he was saying, okay, let's do this. I'm making this ballet for you, blah, 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 blah. Try to get some dancing in South Africa and tell them to come and do
You're
it.
like,
I'm
what?
like, that's not happening here.
Yeah.
In Spain, you can have many friends that can, okay, let's do it, man. I'm going to support you in this and let's go. Let's see where it can get. In South Africa, you can do that.
No.
You need to tell first, this is the amount of money. And then, I don't know, because I haven't had that experience of saying, I'm going to choreograph and then come, I won't pay you. No, every time that I go to someone, they pay me. So I don't know if they do that. But here you can't ask dancer to help you to grow the business.
No, and they won't. Look, I mean, it is difficult for some dancers because of how they're going to find the money to come to your rehearsals, how they're going to find the money to be able to help you. So they're living from hand to mouth for a lot of them. But there are dancers who aren't living from hand to mouth, who still will say no. And I think there's also the thing that, again, choreographers, back to the choreographer, who will call you and go, I've got this job, but you need to do it for exposure because the client says we can get the next gig. No, it's not the same thing as me going, I've got an idea that we could grow and this is how we're going to all benefit when it is successful, as opposed to me going, can you do this for me for free?
For free.
Because I will, we're going to get the next job. Dancing for, exposure is not the same thing as developing something as a group that will benefit you long term. Not some stupid person who's prepared, and very seldom are they not getting paid. There's always someone getting paid.
Of course.
There's no one.
Of course.
There's always someone making something.
No one does nothing for free.
Exactly. So I get it. There's that. That is a different conversation altogether. But you've got to be able to take a step back and ask the right questions and understand what it is you're doing. And no, you're not doing for some. I had someone message me and ask me. They've got this doctor who's having an event for a Christmas party, and they need someone to come and sing, but they must do it pro bono. So I went, so a doctor is doing a Christmas party for his staff, and they want a singer to come and sing for free. Doctors make a lot of money. Does he give his patients consultations for free? I don't understand. It's not a charity. It's a doctor who now just wants someone to come and sing for free. I mean, how does that make sense? That is when you say no. But we can make the industry better if we create stuff. Phila de la Rue just did, Disco City. I was very emotional at the end of the show. I was in tears when I hugged her because it seems like just a small thing because it's just another, singer, just another show with singers and dancers, whatever. But the amount of work that goes into it, the courage it takes to do it, the fact that the dancers and the vocalists bought into it with her, the fact that she could say to them, "Come, guys, let's create something together," and she did it. And it was a fun show. The fact of the matter is that she couldn't have done it if they didn't buy into it. And who knows where it could go from there. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. I'm hoping fully it's got to go somewhere. I hope for her sake that it does.
Yes.
But we need more of that. Because that is the way we're going to grow the industry. We can't be putting our hand out all the time. We can't just be putting our hands out. We've got to be able to create things for ourselves. And it's shitty that the dancers, and again, it's an interesting thing because South Africans think it's all them. Look at the dancers overseas going on strike because principal ballet dancers have to take work elsewhere. It's a universal problem. It's just not just an us problem.
Exactly.
But again, it's a me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the only one with the problem. I'm the only one with the problem. Look at how other people have solved the problem. Look at your dad going, let's create this ballet. Da, da, da. Those are the people that drive the world. Those are the people that change things. Those are the people that make a difference. I have 3 new concepts I'm working on this year. Will they all come together? I don't know.
You don't know, but
I've
at least
had
you're
other
doing
concept
it.
that didn't.
Yeah.
One is actually to try and help people in the industry develop ideas for the corporate industry, and I'll chat to you about it when it's ready.
Yes.
But we need to also think about how can I be of service, not what am I getting out of this. Of course, I'm going to get something out of it. I'm not going to do it just, but it is also helping other people. It can't just be about you all the time. There's got to be a sense of community. You know, if you climb yourself to the top and you get to the top and there's a pile of ashes under you, what are you standing on? We don't have to all climb on top of each other. We can help each other up.
And there is food for everybody.
Exactly. Look, not everyone deserves a place in the sun.
Exactly.
Because they're choreographers or dancers who shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Get them out. But we can also all work together to make it better. And the reason I say those dancers and singers and choreographers should be out is because they're destroying the industry.
Yes.
They're not doing it any favors. But those who are doing it a favor, we should be helping each other. It can't be a me, me, me. What am I going to get out of this? How do I stomp on you to get where I'm going? How do we get there together? And that's the mindset we have to have in this country, and we don't.
We don't have.
But it's interesting because there are dancers in the townships who particularly do. And I think maybe it comes from a socio-economic perspective. I think those who have less are more likely to work together. Those who have a lot want to keep it for themselves.
And that's beautiful. And what can we do to implement more diversity and showcasing talents in South Africa? Do you have any plan, or how can we do that?
You mean to showcase talent?
Yes.
Again, creators have to take control of the situation. You have to go, okay, this is what I want to create, and I'm going to create it. When I first started, and like I said to you before we started, I don't want to talk about myself. Nobody cares about what I did. But this was an interesting part of my journey. When I first wanted to be a choreographer, I would call SPCA and going, oh, you're having a WAG day. I'll come and choreograph something for you. I'll choreograph the girls in the competition. I don't want to do beauty competitions, like, rolling my eyes. But the fact of the matter is it got me seen by someone, and then I would get offered something else. You've got to go, okay, so where am I heading and how am I going to get there? You can't wait for someone else to do it for you.
To do it, exactly.
You can't wait for someone else to do it for you. So I would persuade some of when I danced in Sun City, a lot of my friends, another one, Daryl Evans, we've been friends 31 years, they would all get together. We'd all wear black, then I'd choreograph a number and then I'd record it. They did that for me. They didn't need to be, they could have been lounging at the pool. They could have been doing whatever, reading a book at home. They could be relaxing because they had to dance in a show that night. But they came on the stage. They allowed me the space at the theatre to use the stage, and I got to express myself and I got to hone my craft. You've got to find a tribe and you've got to be able to work to a point together. And that is some of the stuff that I'm doing this year is about that, because I'm also bored. I'm so bored with our industry. Our industry is so boring because we're just churning out the same stuff over and over and over again. And if I go and if I have to work at an event where and I'm not going to mention the acts because I don't want to belittle anyone, but if I see the same arrivals act or entertainment at an event, I'm like, there's got to be a new way to do something. How many times can you watch someone hang off a piece of fabric flying around a room? How many times can you watch someone jump around, stand in a costume, serve drinks, whatever? There's got to be a different way to do an old thing. And until we find those ways, people are also going to get bored with us.
And do you think is that the reason of that is because the choreographer are bored as well? Like they're not having any passion, or they're just doing for the money? Or
they're doing it for the money. Because
money.
They're getting paid anyway. The client's going to buy it from them anyway. Yes, and there are people who have tried new things. There are people out there trying new things. They don't always work, but at least they're trying them. But they're also trying them at a very, very low standard. You can't offer people cheap crap. Offer something that works. And it doesn't mean it has to cost you a fortune, but put in the work. Make sure your dancers who are dancing actually understand the genre. I had a whole thing about why are people putting dancers in point shoes who are not ballet dancers? Why are people doing... Just because you can spin on your head doesn't make you a break dancer. Just because you can stand in point shoes doesn't make you a ballet dancer. Just because you can do a bit of popping and locking doesn't make you a hip-hop dancer. The thing is that there's a genre, and if we that's another reason that's one other way we could make the industry better, is if we use the dancer who is qualified for that style, in that style at the event, everyone gets to work. If you take your 7 little dancers and you say, they're Bollywood dancers, they're ballet dancers, they're tap dancers. No, they're not. No, they're not. Absolutely,
They
they're
put
not.
in the
I don't
CV.
care
Yeah, I do
how-
all the type of dance. You
because
know?
the videos you post prove that they're not.
Yeah.
I can see it when I look at your videos going, there was a whole drama when Mr. Price years ago used a model in point shoes. Her feet were so bad, even people who weren't dancers could see that she was not a ballet dancer. The outcry from that, they took that ad off. So why do dancers attack that industry and the model, but they don't attack the actual industry? Why are they not calling out choreographer going, why are you putting those girls in point shoes? Why are those girls in heels and they're not showgirls?
Yeah.
Why are they standing like that when that is not a showgirl, but we all keep quiet? We'll attack someone else, but we won't call each other out. I call them out, and then I get private message by the person going, I know you're talking about me. I'm going, your hand. I am talking about you. Because what you're doing is not cool. Or what's interesting is sometimes you're not even talking about that person and they message you anyway and you go, oh, so why, are you feeling guilty?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about you. But if the shoe fits, wear it. But we should be going. But why is that dancer doing that job when they're not qualified for it? There's a whole bunch of ballet dancers. We've got beautiful ballet dancers in this country who could have done that job. We've got great hip-hop dancers who could have done that job. We've got brilliant break dancers. We've got really good dancers in every genre. But choreographers are sticking to their little group. Because again, if I'm not a hip-hop dancer, am I going to feel insecure as the choreographer because now I'm standing in front of a group of hip-hop dancers? Absolutely not. I go to them and I go, guys, I am not a hip-hop choreographer, but I know what I want to see. This is what I want.
That's powerful.
This is what I want. I don't have to be able to do it. I'm the choreographer creating the picture. And why must I feel intimidated by you? And then you also mustn't undermine me because, but I'm the hip-hop dancer and you're not.
You don't know
Well,
exactly.
I don't care because you're not the one creating the picture. That is not what I want. I can choreograph and stage anything, and only because I respect the genre that I'm working in. And I don't pretend to know about it when I don't. And I will do some research. I can speak to break dancers in their terms because I've researched them going, what is this? What is that? What is this? It doesn't mean I can do it.
Yeah.
But I know what I want to see.
Yes.
But dancers will not respect you if you pretend you know and you don't.
Sure. That's amazing.
So just own it, going, I don't know everything. I can't do this style, but I do know what I'm trying to create. And I respect the fact that you can, but this is how I want it. I've worked with ballet dancers and I go, I don't want that preparation. I don't want the coupe, whatever. I'm going, I don't want it. Yeah, but we always do it like that. I'm going, well, it's boring. I don't want to see the preparation. How can you can you give me just that step?
Yeah.
Take out the preparation. Or first of all, take out your hair. I don't want it in a bun. Yeah, but we've always been in a bun. Okay, well, you're not doing it this time.
Yeah.
Take out your bun. I want it this way. I've worked with ballet dancers from before it was the Joburg Ballet. And we had so much fun together. Because I'm not a ballet dancer, I do understand a lot of the terminology because I was trained in jazz and the terminology is the same. I understand how a lot of the choreography works. I know what a glissade is. I know what all those things are. I can't do them. But I'll also go, but I don't like it that way. So it's not religious to me. I'm not breaking any rules in my head because that's the way it has to be done. But the ballet dancers go with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you don't go with the choreographer, we're never going to create anything new. And if you stick to your little group of dancers and put them in point shoes when they don't belong in them and make them do break dancing when they're clearly not break dancers or when they're standing with, I mean, girls don't know how to cooch. They don't know how to bevel their foot, which is a standard thing for a showgirl. They've got their feet so far apart you can drive a bus between their legs. I'm like, that's not how a showgirl stands.
Exactly,
That's not how a showgirl walks. Then when the client sees it, they go, oh, that's horrible. We're not doing that again. But had they used the girls who are showgirls, they would have given that gig. They would have gotten that gig again. Even if it means they didn't get it, someone else at least would also. It just generates work. When you give the client crap, they stop. I've got one or two clients who will not use dancers. They will not use dancers because they go, they're a mess. They're new clients to me. The one I've persuaded, no, dancers don't always have to be a mess. But what you're doing is you're destroying the industry. You're destroying the industry. Use the dancer that is right for the genre. Then everyone gets work. Spread the love. There is a place in the sun for everyone who deserves to be in the sun. Some people need to be sitting in the shade watching.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, for me, I never thought like that because I always thought that everybody's deserve opportunity in dance. But sometimes I see people that they can't do the step and they still dancing. I'm like, but and there is another amazing dancer sitting in
Exactly
the
the point.
house and waiting for work when
That's
the
it.
other people are like doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Exactly.
I understand now why is the reason, and thank you for making me realize that, because I feel like if you want to get a really good quality of dance or ballet or whatever, you need to be good.
No, and we need to be strict.
And
no
strict,
one
yeah.
in the business world, no one gives someone a job if they don't have the right experience. They're going to ask shame, but they really want to. They're passionate about it. So we'll let them come in and do our books and mess them up completely because they want so desperately to be an accountant, or they want to be an economist, or they want to be whatever they want to be. No, they're not going to do it. So why are we doing it? It's not a charity. Everyone wants to be friends with everyone. Everyone wants to be seen as, the good guy. Yeah, the good guy gets stomped on. When I first started in this industry, I was very sweet. Oh, it's okay if you don't come to rehearsal. Don't worry if you can't do the step. And then I realized when my choreography was a mess, that I was never going to have a career that way. I also have to look after my own career. But it doesn't mean that I can't build others while I'm doing it. And the reality is that you're doing the industry a disservice by taking dancers because they're cheap who can't do the job. Just get a little bit more money and pay the dancer that is good what they deserve.
Or also, like I say, I'm not saying that the dancer or whoever wants to dance, they can do it. But if you want to do it properly, just go to train properly.
Yeah, you've got to get training.
And maybe like that, maybe you can get to whatever you want. But don't say that, I can do this dance, and you have no any background of dance.
I had a dancer when I was at UJ. I was the resident choreographer and the artistic director of the dance company there for 6 years. And you had to audition for the dance company every year. It was an extramural activity. They don't have dance and drama and any of the arts as subjects at UJ. So to fill that gap, they had the arts centre, which they still have. It's run very differently now. But I'd have people like auditioning for the dance company, and this guy walks in his jeans. And there's a few other people in jeans. I go, okay, so those who are still in jeans, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to go and change. Oh, yeah, well, this is what we have. I'm going, well, no, you can't audition for me in jeans, because you're not going to be able to do what I need to do in jeans. So, well, I'm a street dancer. I'm going, so what does that mean? You dance in the street? I don't understand what that means. I'm not looking for a street dancer. So the one guy said, well, what are you looking for? What are you going to do? I said, well, you're going to have to be able to do double pirouettes. He goes, well, what style of dance is that? I said, my friend, this is not the place for you. Go and Google it. And I kicked him out.
Wow.
Because what must I do with him if he can't do a double pirouette? And maybe he has the ability to do one, but if he hasn't even found out what it is, which means he's living in a box. I remember having a huge argument with a dancer on Facebook once when I still had auditions. I don't do them much anymore, but again, because a lot of auditions are egos for choreographers. Let's see how many dancers come to my audition. They have no intention of employing those dancers. They forget that those dancers have maybe loaned money from someone to get to that audition. Yeah. So you're feeding your ego again. You see ego, a child.
It's always around.
It's the damn ego. I will have auditions if I really need to. I'm not going to make people come for nothing. So I put on the post that I need these style of dancers. I don't need Pansula dancers, and I don't need whatever else. So the one guy writes to me, goes, oh, so what are you saying? Pansula is not a valid form of dance. So I said, my friend, don't put words in my mouth. I did not say that it's not a valid form of dance. I said that because I don't do that and I don't get much call for it, I don't need you to audition. Do you want me to make you come to the audition for nothing? So do you want to pay for the petrol to come and I'm never going to give you a job? If I book Pansula dancers, I book a group because they come as a unit. I don't book individual dancers. I'm not a Pansula choreographer. And yes, it's not that I haven't done that, but generally I know I'm going to book a group of dancers. So why make that dancer come? I said to him, so what are you saying, that only Pansulas are valid? I said, I looked at your Facebook, you only do Pansula. So are you saying that only Pansula is a valid form of dance? I said, because there are other styles of dance. No, that's just what I do. I'm going, fine, but what you do is not what I need right now. It's as simple as that. So there's got to be a place in the sun for everyone who deserves that place. So like you say, you never thought about it before, but we're not a charity. We're not just to make friends. We can be nice to each other, but we don't have to be friends. And that's another thing, is like, how do you get ahead in the industry? Kiss ass. Remember the choreographer's birthday, whatever. I don't care if you don't remember my birthday. Really, I don't care. Can you do the step? Are you going to arrive on time?
But that happened in South Africa as well.
Oh, yeah, of course. You've got to be all sweet and, schlippy and whatever. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, again, ego. People want their asses kissed.
I never thought, like I said, I'm in a box of the ballet dance world, but the corporate dance world, I don't know how it works.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, no?
It's people. You're dealing with people. The interesting thing is that my corporate clients don't care that I don't remember their birthday. They want to know, the event company wants to know that you're going to get the job done, you're going to get it done without drama, and that you can do it well so that they look good to their client, so that their client looks good to their boss. It feeds up. That's all they're interested in. So in a sense, that part of the industry is easier. Do you know what I'm saying? Because are you good at your job? End of story. And yes, you're still going to there are still people getting jobs from friends who happen to own an event company, but friends are going to look after friends. What can you do? People have their tribes, but generally speaking, just get the job done. Be respectful, be good at your job, arrive on time, don't be a drama queen, you will get the next job. But other than that, there are lots of choreographers who want their dancers to kiss their asses. There are lots of dancers who are not going to recommend that dancer for a job because, they were a bit rude to me the other day. People are people. Let them just be people. There's a big difference between unreliable, a drug addict, disrespectful, blah, 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 and sometimes just having a bad day. And also because if you don't like me, now no one else around you must like me either. How does that work?
Yeah, I thought that was only happening in the ballet world.
No, it happens everywhere. It's the same crap.
Yeah.
Same crap, different genre.
Yeah.
And it's rubbish. And you know what? It's never going to go away. It's called being human. But we can at least try.
Yeah, that's my thing. But we need to change the way that people are thinking, because this generation that are coming behind, they're worse than us in a way that they have different mentality, But
we can also teach them a different way.
But that's come from the school as well, I think.
Yeah, what's also not the choreographer all the time, but what's interesting to me is that this whole new thing, and I actually also thought of doing it, and then years ago we kind of got it together, and then we didn't, and then recently I was thinking about doing it, and I kind of was just a little bit slow at getting it off the ground, and then two dance associations have kind of launched theirs, and I mean, okay, cool, someone's doing it, it doesn't have to be me, I was a bit slow. I'm not going to go and burn down their offices.
Yeah.
It's okay. But what's interesting is that even the dance associations are understanding that there's a gap, but they're not understanding why there's a gap. So now they want these dancers to pay to do a course where they get taught how to enter the industry. A lot of what they're presenting in their courses, I think, there's still a gap. But again, because a lot of them don't work as professionals in the actual industry. And I think that's where the disconnect comes. Is your dance teacher someone who worked in the industry, or have they always been a dance teacher? Because it's a world they don't understand. How connected is your studio to people outside in the actual professional industry? And how much are you exposing your students to those people? The dance studio industry in itself is also a whole very complicated, very difficult situation. Teachers not trusting other teachers in case they steal their students, and competitions have made it much worse. I've got a lot of friends who are dance teachers. I see what they struggle with. It is not an easy job. You can make money, but you have to work really hard. And you can be successful and you can make good money, but you can also be poor. But again, that comes down to how are you running your business? How much luck do you have? Are you in the right area? There's a million of those things. Running a school in a rich area and running a school in a very poor, broken down area, two very different worlds. Your level of income is going to be determined by where you are.
Okay.
But again, you can also run a very unsuccessful studio in a very rich area. So now suddenly these kids are entering the industry, but they don't know how to get in because they've never been exposed to anyone who's in it. The fact that there's a special course for that outside of their dance training is a problem. The studio I came from, when I danced with Wally Green, when I danced with Delia Sainsbury, I was around people all the time who were active in the industry. So when I entered the industry, it was just a natural step.
Yeah.
It was just the next step.
Yeah, like what we did when we were in the school before. Like you finished your last year, but you are preparing for.
Exactly. And it was just the next step. Now it's like, what do I do now? How do I get a job? Who do I call? What do I do? I don't know anyone. I had someone recently who was asking advice for a pupil, and I thought, but why are you asking those questions when you're trying to help your pupil? I think it's lovely that you do, but you clearly don't know what you're talking about because those are all the wrong questions. And the answers that you're looking for are not there. You know, so there's a gap between what they're being taught in the studio, even when they're doing the exams the right way, and going into the industry. There's something missing there. And that course, it's great that they have it, but it shouldn't be necessary. The fact that that course is there is telling me something is missing. Something is usually missing because, again, even in the dance studio world, there are lots of dance teachers who should not be dance teachers. There are lots of brilliant dance teachers. I mean, Megan Rosenberg has been around for years. She's a brilliant tap dance teacher. You can't go wrong with her. You know, and I mean, there are lots of others. I'm just mentioning her. Delia Saintbury has a lot of really good teachers working for her. You know, there are a lot of good ballet teachers. I mean, isn't Ian MacDonald's wife running a studio?
Karen.
Exactly. How do you go wrong? She was a principal ballerina. She was a ballerina in a ballet company. She's going to know exactly what you need.
What you need, yeah.
There are lots of really good teachers out there, but there are also not so great ones. But everyone feels like they have a place in the sun. They're going to take their 30 students and they're going to take the money. But then they must accept that they must bring in outside people. Your camera
Well, it's okay. We can go with this one.
We're going to go that one.
Yeah.
So the reality is that you need to then expose people to, you need to accept that there's stuff that you don't know.
Yeah.
Your ego again.
Yeah.
Oh, but I know everything. No, you don't know everything. So bring in someone who does.
Sure.
So that you can give your students and your pupils the best opportunity possible. We had a different mindset then. We had, like you said, you're going straight from the studio, and like I said, into the industry. It was a natural flow. And there's still teachers who can do that, but there are teachers who can't because they're too focused on competitions. Nobody in the professional industry gives a crap about what competition you've won. We don't see the value in those competitions. Those competitions give you bragging rights to your friends and your family.
Yeah.
They don't ensure you a job in the industry at all. They're two very different worlds. They're running next to each other like this. They're not doing this.
And
Very
that's
different.
important to go together. Otherwise,
Yeah.
anything's not,
Exactly.
things are not going to happen.
No.
So I want to jump quickly to,
Yeah.
we are getting to the end. I think you have answered all of my questions.
Oh, good.
Without saying, what is this, you know? So I'm happy to have this podcast with you. And again, thank you so much
Thank
for,
you. Yeah.
for
Let's hope
coming.
you don't
and-
get into trouble for some of the things I've
No,
said.
but that's my thing. That's what I want to have with this podcast. This platform is for everybody to have something to say,
Yes.
not to keep quiet, you know?
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of, it's nice to fight behind the phone and be like, yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell all this. But when
Yeah.
you are in front of the people, they just...
Yes, exactly. But
You
that's
know
the
what I mean?
problem. Yeah, we have to have the uncomfortable conversation.
So if we have this type of platform, then I think everybody's going to be out there. Then I understand what he means. Because everybody...
Some
on
of
the
them will
pho-
just hate me more.
Well, that's okay. That's the problem, you know. That's the problem. But the thing you said it, you know.
Yeah.
So I just want to jump quickly to some of the questions that I have because I asked on Instagram
yeah.
and the social network what question the corporate have
Yeah.
for you, and some of them they were interesting. This guy's called Abe Mambote.
Oh, yes, Abel. Yes.
Yeah, able. So he asked, what is one thing that you would change about the current state of dance in South Africa and how? I think...
Well,
Yeah.
get rid of the ones who can't dance.
So he also asked, have you found your sole purpose in dance industry? If is so, what is this?
Sure. I mean, that's an interesting thing. I don't think that I have a sole purpose. I think I've just been kind of doing what I love. Last year I even questioned, like, what the hell do I do? Why am I doing this? Does it have any value? I think probably my purpose is to challenge people, but I think that's just because I have a big mouth.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know that I have a sole purpose. I think it's almost kind of, again, ego to think that you have a sole purpose or that this was your role.
Yeah.
I'm a choreographer, a
Yeah.
director, a show caller. I do what I love, and I try and do it with integrity and to the best of my ability. That's pretty much it.
That's nice. And another girl's Lara. Lara. She say, what is something a dancer should know when looking to go professional?
Ask the right questions. Do the math. Value yourself as a product. You don't have to sell yourself cheap, but you also have to be worth paying for.
Yeah. And the last one, what qualities will you look for in a dancer wanting to go professional?
Obviously, they have to have technique. If we're going to go to the basics, the technique, they have to actually know how the hell to dance. They can't just want to dance. Passion is not enough. I know people say, yes, a dancer isn't about their technique, it's about the passion. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The technique comes first. The passion is a must. You can't want to be a dancer if you don't have the passion, but you have to have the technique.
Yes.
And you have to be professional, be on time, do the job properly. Know that it's a job. It's a job. We're not there making friends. We're not there to kiss each other's asses. We are there to do a job. Your job is to do what I tell you, and my job is to make sure you get paid. It's as simple as that. It's not complicated.
So, Owen, another question to us, Kalinda Harms. I'm sorry if I said the
Harmsa.
name. Yeah, it's wrong. What quality will you look for? I think we say that one, no?
Yeah, it's a similar thing, similar question.
Yes. Let's go to another one. What are 3 top tips that you can give to a dancer that wants to come to audition?
Be on time for the audition. Make sure to watch carefully, because the choreographer is not interested if you can do 6 pirouettes if they've choreographed 3. Do the choreography as it's set and think about the style, not just the step, because if they're actually a choreographer, they will have a style.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to be looking for. They expect you to have the technique, but they want to know, can you get the style? So it's be on time, get the style, and basically don't be arrogant at the audition. You don't have to be ingratiating and begging, whatever, but be pleasant. Don't come in with this attitude of arrogance, and just know that it's an audition and that there are going to be a lot of other good dancers and some of them better than you.
That's important. I think this one is from the Glam Dance Company.
Yes.
You work there now?
I have taught one of the kids there, yes.
Okay, cool.
Very good dancer. I hope she makes it in the industry, yeah.
Ah, that's nice. Another one, Addison. What was the biggest challenge you had to overcome in your career, and how do you do it?
Well, I think mine was the fact that I came from this little town. I was born into a family that didn't know anything about the entertainment industry at all. I seem to overcome it quite easily, but I think it's just because I made sure that I learned what I needed to learn, and I just believed in myself. I remember being told, oh, well, only 1% of choreographers make it. I'm going, well, then I'll have to be the 1%. This is what I want to do with my life. There is no other option. This is what it is. So I think I didn't come from the right background, but I found my way by putting myself out there. And also, no one ever does it on their own. There's always someone who's helping. There's always someone who opens a door. There's always someone who's being supportive. And I have an amazing mom who was very supportive, and I have incredible friends. And I have people in the industry who also have helped me and believed in me. So just remember, you're never going to do it alone. Never.
That's important. I think the family is the most important here, because they are the one that push on. Yeah. They go. Some of them can be weird.
Yeah,
but
weird. Yeah,
but some of them they really push you to get to what you want.
And then once you're in the industry, there are going to people who are going to be helping.
Exactly.
You're never going to do it alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not me.
The ego thing.
Yeah.
Sky, the dancer, she asked, on a scale 1 of 10, how important is ballet technique to the other style?
10.
Yeah.
I don't think that if you want to be a well-rounded dancer, you must only do ballet. But if someone comes to me and says, I want to be a good dancer, I will always say you need to do ballet. It needs to be there. It needs to be in there somewhere. You don't have to do it as your main focus, but I think ballet class is very important. You get a very good training as a jazz dancer, like with the ISTD, their jazz syllabus is amazing. But it's also based in a lot of ballet. So, people go, oh, ballet's old and whatever, but it's been around for how many years and it's still around. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It really does give you the right grounding and the right technique and the right discipline.
Exactly, 100%.
It's the discipline that it gives
100%.
you.
Another one, I think, you answered this one already in the beginning of the podcast. She's called Cristiano, or him. At what age do you start dancing?
As early as you want.
Yeah.
Don't wait. When you're ready to dance, dance.
Yeah.
And you can start when you're older too. The Batsheva Dance Company, all-male ballet dance company, when I saw perform there when I was a teenager, none of those men had started dancing before the age of 22. And they were amazing. You can start whenever you like. You must just be realistic about what your goals are and what your talent and your your expertise is. Again, not everyone deserves a place in the sun.
Sky again, she asked, does tap actually help with your different type of musicality skills?
Does tap?
Yeah.
That's literally the best one for musicality. Literally. There's no such thing as a tap dancer who can go out of time. We understand so much about rhythm as a tap dancer because you are actually a percussionist. It really is a brilliant way to understand rhythm. It really, really is. And I think a lot of dancers who have problems with musical timing. There are a lot of them, and it's because they're dancing to counts. They're not listening to what the music is doing.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the music doing? I don't care what the count is. You might know the step is on one, but do you know where it is in the music? And tap is amazing for that. We don't have enough tap dancing anymore. We just don't. And I think it's because it's a lot of hard work. It's like ballet. And the kids don't want to do ballet anymore. They don't want to do tap. They don't want to do ballet because it takes too much work. They want the quick fix. You know, we're living in the 7-second video of TikTok generation.
That's the thing. Get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that's amazing. And let's do a quick game. I prepared, it's called the quick question and answer. So
dangerous game.
Yeah. Let's go quickly. Ballet ties or sweat pants?
Sweatpants.
Stage light or natural spotlight?
Stage lights.
What is your signature to dance move?
You mean?
Yeah, the one that people will know. That's Owen.
A hinge.
A hinge.
Yeah.
People will know.
That's a hinge. Always.
Who is your dance icon?
Gene Kelly.
Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
But from South Africa or?
No. Overseas. He was an old tap dancer. He was in Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
The old school.
The crazy thing that happened during a performance.
Well, I mean, there've been lots of them, but I'd probably say the time I left my zip down, and I was in loose green jeans, and I had red undies underneath, and every time I did a bend, you could just see them opening. So yeah, that was not fun. And I could see the look on people's faces, and I was like, something's wrong. And then I realized in the dressing room what that was.
One song you have to dance to.
One song I have to dance to. Oh my goodness. That's a hard one. I know you want a quick answer, but Vogue.
Is it?
I love Madonna. She's gone a little bit mad now, but
yeah,
she's a little bit strange. There are lots of songs that I would love to dance to, but I suppose I said Vogue because I love Madonna. There are just too many songs, and because it depends on the mood of the day. So.
Favorite type of dance shoes?
Favorite type of dance shoes? Oh, just sneakers.
Sneakers?
No, my tap shoes.
Okay.
My tap shoes.
Okay. Rehearsal snack, healthy or indulgent?
Rehearsal snack. Oh, my eating habits are so bad at the moment. So I'd probably say indulgent because I really need to get my eating under control. Especially because I'm turning 59 this year. And it end up being a big round thing. And I know it's a shape, but it's not a very attractive one.
I think let's do the last one. Best dance advice you have ever received?
Sure, I've received so much advice. Believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself, but be realistic. Believe in yourself, but be realistic. Not everyone deserves a place in the sun.
Exactly.
Get a different job.
Exactly. Yeah. And for the last question, what advice would you give to the new people that wants to, or the new generation that wants to dance?
Make sure you have a good dance education. Make sure you have a good dance education. Make sure you get a good dance education. Go to a studio that is connected to people in the industry so that your step from studio to stage is seamless. Find the right studio. Your dance teacher doesn't always have to be your best friend or the nicest person. How connected are they, and how are they going to get you to where you want to go?
That's important.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you so much. How do you feel? Do you feel like you say everything?
Yes, and I I was circumspect because I can be very outspoken. So I was like, okay, don't get yourself into trouble and don't destroy his podcast.
No, but
So-
like I say, that's what we need. We need people to speak.
Yeah. How are you happy? Are you?
I'm super happy. I just learned a lot. Like I didn't know much about the corporate world.
It's the same.
And seems like it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same. Dance is dance. Doesn't matter what we're doing. We're dealing with dancers and we're dealing with ego. And the reality is, again, that's why it's great that you want people to talk about themselves, but you won't learn anything from that person sitting going, I did this, I choreographed this, I choreographed that. Like, nobody cares what you choreographed. Who are you? What are you bringing to the industry?
And what would you change in the industry as well?
And I'm tough. You can tell I'm tough.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do the job. If you can't do the job, go do something else. Go do something else.
I think like that's why we need more real people.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes when you speak, it's just like I don't believe what you say.
Yeah, and like,
You know.
oh, nobody gives the new choreographer a chance. Nobody has to give you a chance.
Exactly.
Because maybe you don't deserve it.
Well, let's see. Hopefully, no one's take this in the wrong way. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for watching another episode of Free Down Podcast. Hope you like this one and see you soon. Bye. Thank you.
Sunset on a corner, Lord. Over in the corner, weeping all alone. The one I said, Sally, don't you be no square. You ain't gonna partner, get a wood and jelly. Everybody, let's rock. Everybody in a hotel who was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Stevie said to it, no, boy. Nobody's looking around, it's time to make a break. Said it, so please, boy, come on now, let's do the right.